Skin the Hardaway Southern T. Back with another EP. And y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. We here for a good time and a long time. We ain't gonna be here too long. I ain't gonna waste too much of your time, right? But I want us to have a boxing conversation, right? Now I didn't do my weekend fight recap the normal way I would do it this week. This week I kind of broke it up on this Monday. You know what I mean? I ain't done yet because I still gotta, do my Regis Prograde piece, which I'm gonna do a little later, right? But we talked about Zach Parker, John Ryder situation, right? Not directly, but I segued that into how Canelo was always going to fight John Ryder, and then Dylan White had a fight this weekend as well. So this is my Dylan White portion of my weekend recap. So I want everybody in the building right now, smash that like button for your boy. Ready here for a good time or a long time. I want y'all to stay with me. You know what I mean? Because we go cover a little bit, right? But not too much. What's good, Miss Joette? Appreciate you sliding through. Shout out to my girl, Miss Joette, and my girl, Jazz, coming through simultaneously. Appreciate y'all sliding through. Shout out to my girl, Miss Joette. What's good, Miss Joette? Appreciate you sliding through this, young queen. Glad you can make it. My girl, Jazz. Appreciate you sliding through this, joint. Jazz. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Glad you can make it. Glad you can make it. But yeah, we having a boxing conversation. So this is kind of me doing my weekend fight recap. Doing it a little different this week, right? So this is the Dylan White portion of the day, right? So Dylan White had a fight with Jermaine Franklin over the weekend. Now, when this fight first broke, right, nobody really cares, right? So when this fight first broke, right? When this fight first broke, first thing is nobody really cares, right? The second thing is when this fight broke, Dylan White is supposed to street sweep Jermaine Franklin, right? He's supposed to get in there, walk over Jermaine Franklin. You know what I mean? Pretty easy. But what happened was this Saturday, Dylan White went in there. He thought he was going to walk through this guy. He thought he was going to go in there, hit on this guy a little bit, and he thought this guy would fold. Now, the exact opposite happened when he went in there with Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin didn't fold at all. Actually, Jermaine Franklin, my bad, because y'all can't see the tweet, huh? Actually, Jermaine Franklin didn't fold at all. Jermaine Franklin actually gave him everything, right, that he was asking for. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, including Jermaine Franklin, right, as you see right here, feel like that Jermaine Franklin was robbed in that fight. Now, I'm not sure if, my people in the building, if y'all saw the fight or, the people listening in, or whatnot, if y'all saw it or whatnot. But could y'all do your boy a favor? Could y'all smash that thumbs up for your boy? Whether you're here for a good time or a long time. 9 people watching, if y'all could, jab that thumbs up for your boy. You could jab that thumbs up for your boy. You know what I mean? But there are some people, myself included, right? I also feel like that Jermaine Franklin was robbed in this fight. I feel like Jermaine Franklin was outboxing Dylan White really from round 1 of this fight until, the end of this fight. No, I don't think Jermaine Franklin won every round, but I think, he won enough rounds in a clear enough fashion to where he should have been given this fight. Like the fight started off early, right? Well, I'm watching Jermaine Franklin and Dylan White. The fight started off early, right? Franklin, he started off kind of hot. eventually I'm like, okay, Franklin's starting off kind of hot, but he gonna settle down. He gonna settle down. He gonna simmer down a little bit, right, as the rounds take on, and Dillian Whyte, go start to pick him apart, right? Well, as the fight went on, Dillian Whyte never started to pick apart Jermaine Franklin. Dillian Whyte never started to separate himself from Jermaine Franklin, right? And then I believe that it was apparent around round 4 or around 5 that Jermaine Franklin was not only in this fight with Dillian Whyte, giving Dillian Whyte a go, he was in this fight with Dillian Whyte to win this fight, right? So I realized that around 4 or 5. So it was a competitive fight from round 1 all the way until the end, in which I thought Jermaine Franklin outboxed Dillian Whyte pretty thoroughly, right? But the judges' scorecard came out, and it was a majority decision. So one of the judges actually did have it for Franklin. So one of the judges did agree with me that Franklin won, right? It was one judge had it 17-11 or for Franklin or something like that, or 18-11, and then two judges had it for 12-16. You know what I mean, for Dillian Whyte, but not really exactly sure what the scorecards was. But two judges had it one round for Dillian Whyte, and the other judge had it like 4 or 5 rounds for Jermaine Franklin. So the judge who scored it for Jermaine Franklin saw Jermaine Franklin winning, by a larger amount than the two judges who scored it a close fight, one decision fight for Dillian Whyte. You know what I mean? So let's really talk about this. And also, Eddie Hearn is now looking to partner up with Jermaine Franklin for another fight, which I'm gonna tell you about in a second. So I can't see the comments, right? So I'm about to look at the thing. Don't know how many people in here. I can't really see the comments, right? But could y'all do your boy a favor? Could y'all smash that like button? What's good, Roy? Appreciate you sliding through. What's good? What's good, Young? Appreciate you sliding through here, Young. Glad you can make it. Let me drop the flames for Young one time, because Young don't always fall through these joints. Appreciate you sliding through. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Young. What's good, Josh? TWT in the building. Y'all let me rock for a second. My guy Boxing MMA said Jermaine was clearly outworking him in the early and later rounds. White Lane did good body shots, but I had Jermaine winning surprisingly. Yeah, we finna get to it. What's good, Edgar Chavez? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Edgar. PGH Big Dog. Say what's up to the Queens. Boxing MMA. Yoda Wise. What's good? Appreciate you sliding through. Right. But let's get back into it, right? So at the end of the fight, a lot of people, even people in the chat, right? Even people in the chat, a lot of us felt like that Jermaine Franklin was robbed. So did Jermaine Franklin, right? So my thing is, why would they rob Jermaine Franklin in a fight with Dillian Whyte? Why would you rob Jermaine Franklin in a fight with Dillian Whyte? Southern T. You accusing Eddie Hearn, you accusing, Eddie Hearn of being crooked, proved that he you accusing him of, fixing the fight for Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte would have lost. You accuse him for fixing the fight for Whyte, saying that he won, right? You don't got no proof. Okay, so let's just think about this. Eddie Hearn had been selling us what before this fight? Before this fight, Eddie Hearn was selling us a rematch with Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte, right? So even before this fight, if you've been following the sport, right, you kind of been having an eye to it. Even if you've been over on Southern T, right, we talked about it, right? But after Anthony Joshua took his 2 losses to Alexander Usyk, right, I made a Southern T about Dillian Whyte being next. And sure enough, because Eddie Hearn said the same night that, AJ is looking to get right back in the ring. It's a lot of people that he could fight. He named a few people. He said Wilder. He said Tyson Fury. And also he said Dillian Whyte. You know what I mean? So DAZN, Eddie Hearn, and AJ, they already had the Dylan White rematch lined up on their radar. Actually, before this fight, they was talking a lot about this fight with Jermaine Franklin, the Anthony Joshua, and Dylan White rematch, right? So they go into this fight with Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin wins this fight. If you go watch this fight, you know what I mean? If you've seen this fight, right, a lot of people feel like Franklin won. You could go back and watch it, Dylan White versus Jermaine Franklin, and you could tell me what you think. I personally think that Jermaine Franklin won this fight, right? But I digress. So I feel like Jermaine Franklin won this fight. You go back and watch it, you tell me. So Jermaine Franklin wins this fight, right, to the eye, or at least to my eye, right, to a lot of people's eyes, and most definitely to his own. Let's scroll through some of these comments real quick, right, because I'm getting to a point right now. Right, I'm getting to a point right now. See what I mean? You know, so a lot of people in the comments feel like that, you know, this guy got robbed too, right? But I digress. So the decision come out, majority decision for Dylan White. Now, I'm about to tell you right now in plain sight, exactly why, you know what I mean, Dylan White got robbed last night. I mean, Jermaine Franklin got robbed Saturday night versus Dylan White. And it had absolutely nothing. This is the point that I'm getting to. It had absolutely nothing to do with Jermaine Franklin. It had absolutely nothing to do with Dylan White. But the reason Jermaine Franklin got robbed Saturday night had everything to do with Anthony Joshua. Jermaine Franklin got robbed Saturday night to preserve Anthony Joshua's career, to preserve Anthony Joshua's name, to get Anthony Joshua back on the winning track, and to get him, you know, back in the good graces of the people. Sudden T, what you mean? Well, don't take my word for it, right, Sudden T, when I tell you Eddie Hearn is setting up, you know, Anthony Joshua to fight Dylan White. If Dylan White is to lose to a guy like Jermaine Franklin, then that destroys, you know what I mean, the age Anthony Joshua and Dylan White fight. But if Dylan White, you know, wins a close, controversial fight over Jermaine Franklin, right, that boosts up the fight with Dylan White and Anthony Joshua. And if you really, right, and if you really thinking, what will be another thing is I couldn't agree more with you, T. You're on point. Boxing MMA. What will really, you know, boost up the fight with Anthony Joshua and Dylan White? Because now you got everybody feeling like Jermaine Franklin, you know what I'm saying, beat Dylan White. So now people are like, oh, you beating Dylan White, and he lost to a guy like Jermaine Franklin. Oh, he lost to Jermaine Franklin. We really don't want to see you fight Dylan White now. He just lost to Franklin. So what does Eddie Hearn do? What does Eddie Hearn do Sunday morning? Sunday morning, Eddie Hearn, he wakes up, he talks to the press, and he tells them, we're going to have two fights. One, we're going to have, wait, before I go, right? The reason, now again, I posed the question, right? I posed the question. What's good, Ghost? Look, I posed this question again. I'm accusing Eddie Hearn, you know, of robbing Jermaine Franklin. You know what I mean? And giving Dylan White their win. Why would you do that? Why would you rob Jermaine Franklin and give Dylan White their win? One, because you want to preserve a fight with Dylan White and Anthony Joshua like you've been doing. But now the fight is tainted because we just saw Dylan White get outboxed by Jermaine Franklin, right? And we saw Jermaine Franklin really win that fight. So now what does Eddie Hearn do? After I saw this move, this further let me know that Jermaine Franklin got robbed solely, not for Dylan White, not for Jermaine Franklin, but for AJ, right? What does Eddie Hearn do after, you know, they rob Jermaine Franklin and they give Dylan White that win? Eddie Hearn goes and he says Dylan White is going to fight in February. or March. He said AJ fights Franklin. Then in the summer at Wembley, you have Dillian Whyte rematch Anthony Joshua. So now Eddie Hearn's master plan is to have Dillian Whyte fight another scrub in February. Right? Who, right? Fight or another guy we don't know. I won't call him a scrub, right? Because Franklin clearly came out here and outboxed Dillian Whyte, so I won't call him a scrub, right? But he's going to fight somebody else that not many people know in February or March, and then he gonna have AJ fight Jermaine Franklin. So now Jermaine Franklin is about to fight Anthony Joshua. So now Eddie Hearn is going to sell us Anthony Joshua knocking out Jermaine Franklin, who really beat Dillian Whyte, and then him and Dillian Whyte will fight each other. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? So when you come out with stuff like this the next night after a big controversial decision, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smooth it over because I'm gonna give Jermaine Franklin the Anthony Joshua fight. So basically, you just go give Jermaine Franklin and Anthony Joshua. You go give him a payday, right? You go give him a payday. So now Eddie Hearn is going to be selling us Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin to boost up Dillian Whyte. He's at White spoke like a man who knows he won't be dude. My thing is, this goes on a whole lot in boxing, right? But let's read this. Right? Let's read this. Now you ask Sudden T, why you think, they robbed Jermaine Franklin? Why you think Eddie Hearn is the mastermind behind setting all this up? Well, because of stuff like this. You get what I'm saying? We clearly saw Jermaine Franklin beat Dillian Whyte last night, and we saw him get robbed. You know what I mean? And then the next day, we go put Dillian Whyte in the ring in February, and we go let AJ fight Franklin. So now you're selling us AJ and Franklin because Franklin beat Dillian Whyte, and you can't go straight into the Dillian Whyte AJ fight because ain't nobody go believe the hype. What's good, Yaakov? Appreciate you sliding through this, John Yaakov. Glad you can make it. We in this thing having a boxing conversation. I'm just bringing to the light on how Franklin was robbed, but I'm really getting down into the reason that he was robbed. And the reason that he was robbed had nothing to do with Dillian Whyte or Franklin. The reason he was robbed had everything to do with what Eddie Hearn said the next day. You know what I mean? With an AJ versus Jermaine Franklin fight. So now he's about to put Jermaine Franklin. Now what's good, dude? Appreciate you sliding through. So now he's about to put Jermaine Franklin in the ring with AJ. You get what I'm saying? So now he about to use Franklin, to boost AJ. The whole reason that Dillian Whyte couldn't lose Saturday, the whole reason that we could watch Dillian Whyte get outboxed for damn near 12 rounds and still win the fight, is because Eddie Hearn is going to put Dillian Whyte in the ring with AJ to maximize his money with his fighters. Now, what he's going to do is to smooth over the robbery, is put Franklin in the ring with AJ. So now, right, they done built Jermaine Franklin up as an attraction to fight AJ. They go throw Dillian Whyte in with a regular guy, and then they go put AJ and Dillian Whyte in the ring with each other during the summer. You get what I'm saying? the business of boxing. But let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. He said Eddie Hearn isn't certain whether Dillian Whyte and AJ will fight next. So now he about to get 2 fights for one. Their promoter hopes, of course, the worst case scenario is that Joshua and Whyte will partake in one bout apiece prior to the rematch. So now he hopes that they take bout. He want them to fight. He want a bout in between their bout. So now he's about to make money twice, and then he's about to sell AJ to Deontay Wilder. But I digress. Prior to their rematch, taking sometime next summer. So he's setting up AJ and Dillian Whyte for a rematch as if we want to see it for next summer. Caveat, Jermaine Franklin beat Dillian Whyte, so now he's throwing Franklin in at Wembley Stadium in London. Hearn even suggested that Joshua, the former unified champ, could face American Jermaine Franklin next, now that Franklin legitimized himself as a contender against Whyte on Saturday night. So now Eddie Hearn is about to put Jermaine Franklin in the ring with Dylan White. He said either way, Hearn promotional plans for White and Joshua are to meet again in the rematch. You know what I mean? So he's telling you that these two guys are going to fight, right? He said, I think it's always a big fight, Joshua White rematch. Generally, I think they've always wanted to fight each other again. It's 1-1. One from the amateurs, White, one from the pros, AJ. Is it which seems like a lifetime away. It was just an epic night. You get what I mean? So now, the reason that was good, Demetrius Bright. Appreciate you sliding through this thing. TWT in the building. So the reason that you would, you know, rob a guy like, Jermaine Franklin will be not so you could promote Dylan White, because in the end, you just using Dylan White as a pawn. The reason that you rob a guy like Jermaine Franklin over Dylan White is because you gotta preserve Anthony Joshua's career. Because now we get into the nitty gritty, right? Anthony Joshua is coming off 2 losses to Alexander Usyk. If Anthony Joshua fights a third fight and he loses a third fight, that's probably career suicide. They at least knocks him out of the top contending heavyweights. You know what I mean? And that could be a problem for Anthony Joshua's psyche. But strictly, a third straight loss will plummet Anthony Joshua, down the heavyweight list. You get what I mean? So right now, Anthony Joshua's career is teetering. You get what I'm saying? So you need to get Anthony Joshua a win. Not only do you need to get him a win, you need to get him a few wins. So right, really what you was doing was you put Dylan White in this fight with Jermaine Franklin as a tune-up, right, for Anthony Joshua to get him a win after his Tyson Fury fight. But what you realize in this fight with Jermaine Franklin is that Dylan White is dookie. Dylan White is done. And he really lost to Jermaine Franklin. So you was trying to get Dylan White a win to build up an Anthony Joshua fight, but Dylan White really lost the build-up fight. So now what you're about to do is you're about to take the guy that really beat Dylan White, make AJ fight him, right? Give him a loss. So now AJ beat Franklin and Dylan White, and you go put him in there with Dylan White as to say, well, Anthony Joshua knocked out Franklin. You know what I mean? So now y'all can watch the Dylan White fight again. Dylan White beat Franklin, and you saw AJ beat him. You get what I mean? This was all for Anthony Joshua. This is to get Anthony Joshua a couple of wins, get Anthony Joshua's confidence back. That's the only reason you even speak to us, you even talk to us about putting Dylan White and Anthony Joshua back in the rematch where uh where Anthony Joshua knocked Dylan White out. You get what I'm saying? Hold on for a second. Yeah, my bad. That's the only reason that you would try to sell us a Dylan White fight anyway. You know what I mean? Would be to get AJ a win, because Dylan White didn't even win his last fight. So how the hell you gonna bring Dylan White off a loss and tell us he gonna fight AJ next? So you put him in there with a random guy from America that you think AJ can smoke. And again, this proves another point that I was saying. This happened twice now. This happened twice now. A little off subject, but not really, right? It happened twice now. You took what you would call one of the best heavyweights from the UK, right? Anthony Joshua, Dylan White, right? And you put him with an average American heavyweight. And you put him with an average American heavyweight, right? You took the best heavyweights in the UK, some of the best heavyweights in the UK. You put him with an average American heavyweight, Andy Ruiz and Jermaine Franklin, right? And what happened in both fights? When you took an average, is it fact how good is White for AJ reputation? It's not. If you took Anthony Joshua, you put him in the ring with Andrew Ruiz. Anthony Joshua was literally the best UK heavyweight, right? It was him. It wasn't Tyson Fury, it was him or Tyson Fury, you get what I'm saying? But Anthony Joshua was seen as the best UK heavyweight. You took him, the number 1 or 2, right? One of the best UK heavyweights, and you put him with Andrew Ruiz. Wasn't even ranked in America, wasn't really known in America. He was sleeping on somebody else's couch. You get what I'm saying? And Andrew Ruiz beat Anthony Joshua. And then you took a guy, Dylan White, and then you took Dylan White and you put him with Jermaine Ortiz. And Dylan White went in there and he beat Jermaine Ortiz. So that right there lets you know that those UK heavyweights are just as good as the average American heavyweights. You know what I mean? Those guys are popular. Boxing is big over there. Those UK fans love their fighters, and I love that about them because they stick with their fighters. But those fighters are more popular than they are good. They give, AJ and Tyson Fury and Dylan White and these guys all these credit for having these resumes and stuff. They fighting all those heavyweights over there in the UK. A lot of times, the best UK heavyweights can beat average American heavyweights. And Anthony Joshua, Andrew Ruiz, and Dylan White and Jermaine Franklin is showing you that. You know what I mean? For the most part, the average American heavyweight could be the best UK heavyweight. And we got multiple examples of that. You get what I mean? Type deal. So basically, to smooth all this over, right? So now Jermaine Franklin, let's fast forward again, right? Now Jermaine Franklin, got a little name. He got a little buzz. You know what I mean? People, they know who he is. He just, fought Dylan White. A lot of people feel like he beat Dylan White. A lot of people, matter of fact, you know what? Matter of fact, a lot of people know that he beat Dylan White. You know what I mean? So now people got questions to answer. So now one thing about Eddie Hearn, right? Now, I ain't gonna say he's the best businessman, right? But I ain't gonna say he the worst. I ain't gonna say he the best PR guy, but I ain't gonna say he the worst. I tell you this right here was a brilliant idea. You know what I mean? To make Anthony Joshua fight Jermaine Franklin. You know what I mean? Because we clearly saw Jermaine Franklin just beat up Dylan White, you know what I mean, for 12 rounds. He at least beat him up, you know what I mean, for 9 or 10 rounds. You get what I'm saying? So we just saw him clearly defeat Dylan White and get robbed. So I could throw Dylan White back in there with Jermaine Franklin, right? But what would make the most sense, what would make me the most money, and ain't no telling if Dylan White is even going to beat Jermaine Franklin if I throw him back in there. Let's really think for a second. Y'all got 16 people in the building. Y'all smash their thumbs up. 16 people in the building. Let's just be real. Like I was saying, those UK fighters are more popular than they are good. They're popular over there. So which fight really makes the most sense for Eddie Hearn? Which route makes the most sense? To rematch Dylan White with Jermaine Franklin again and possibly get him beat, right? Or to put AJ in there with Franklin, a guy who you pretty sure is going to beat Franklin, right? Knock him off, let Dylan White fight a scrub, right? Possibly a guy that he could knock out. Make sure you go even lesser than Jermaine Franklin this time. Possibly a guy he could knock out, get an easy win, right? So now you got Dylan White coming off 2 wins in a row. You got AJ coming off his 1 win over a guy that possibly beat Dylan White, right? Builds interest for AJ and Dylan White. Which fight makes the most sense? Dylan White and AJ over there in the UK. You know what I mean? Franklin fighting AJ over there in the UK don't really make him as much money as a guy like Dylan White and AJ, because that's where Dylan White fan base is at over there in the UK. That's where AJ fan base is at. Now AJ is known over here as well a lot more than, you know what I mean, Dylan White, right? But predominantly their fan bases are over there. So it makes more sense for him to make the UK-based fight. You get what I mean? So he like, nah, I'm not sticking White back in there with Franklin because Franklin might beat him. And then I'm going to destroy the match over there in the UK with Anthony Joshua and Dylan White. So I'm about to throw AJ in there with Franklin. You know what I mean? It's gonna look like a good win on paper because he went because Dylan White went life and death with this guy. You know what I mean? What's good, Teach? Teach said it's a tedious play to get his American boxers into the UK market. I think this I think this was supposed to be an easy fight for Dylan White, remember? Because Dylan White, uh I said Dylan Hunt, because Dylan White and Eddie Hearn was teasing us with Jermaine Franklin before he fought Tyson Fury. And then the Tyson Fury fight came about, and then they threw Franklin to the wayside, and then Franklin was about to fight Big Shot Shaw. But once Dylan White got knocked out, they called Franklin again, and Franklin pulled out the fight with Big Shot Shaw. You know what I mean? Sativa just making the best of the opportunity that they earned. They worked with them in the first fight, Dylan White and Franklin. They planned that fight to lose, but they performed so good in that fight. Now AJ got to fight him because Dylan White might not beat him again, Teach. This is a move by Eddie Hearn to save his own ass. Sativa is a promotional company that pretty much take the fights wherever, they could get them because they don't have a network necessarily. You get what I'm saying? So I think this is a play by Eddie Hearn to try to save his own ass, Teach. Sativa just, pretty much doing what they always do, getting in where they fit in. I think Jermaine Franklin is the one that made this happen. I think shout out to Sativa, right? They could Sativa, they just signed Boo Boo Andrade. They getting Jermaine Franklin big fights, right? Clarissa Shields is on the rise. You know what I mean? They starting to, make a little traction there. They getting, a little money. They starting to get some big time fights over there. You get what I'm saying? I'm thinking they just making the most out of their opportunities. And I seen Sativa just sign another up and coming heavyweight that's by 7. His name is blowing me right now, but I do know his name, but it's past me right now. But yeah, they turning up right now, Teach. But I think this move, I don't think that they planned this one. I think this move came about because Jermaine Franklin really beat Dylan White. And I think Eddie Hearn know that, because if he didn't beat Dylan White, right, you let him rematch Dylan White. You don't put him in there with AJ. Think about this, y'all. Think about this. In what world does an unknown fighter fight a higher ranked fighter, lose, and then get a bigger fight, and then he get the fight that the higher ranked fighter was supposed to get next if he didn't win the fight? I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it slow. What unknown fighter has ever fought a higher ranked fighter, lost to the higher ranked fighter, and then got the fight that the higher ranked fighter was supposed to get next? That's because that man really won that fight. You get what I'm saying? They really doing this. They doing this to preserve AJ, to boost AJ. If AJ going there, he knocked Franklin out, it's gonna make AJ look good over there, to his people where he at. He going there, he gonna knock him out, he gonna look great over there. And then he go and he gonna knock Dylan White out. You know what I mean? And now the AJ aura and the AJ story and the AJ train is back rolling with 2 straight wins. This is a way to get AJ back in the ring and to get AJ a couple more wins. You feel me? That's why you rob, you know what I mean, Jermaine Franklin in a fight with Dylan White where everybody clearly saw that, you know what I mean, Jermaine Franklin won. It's because you want to preserve AJ, not because, you hate Jermaine Franklin or you like Dylan White. Because you don't like Dylan White. Again, Dylan White is just a pawn to boost AJ as well. That's just another win for Anthony Joshua, Dylan White is. You know what I mean? And now because Jermaine Franklin really beat him, but you couldn't give him the win, you just created another, quote unquote win for Anthony Joshua and Jermaine Franklin. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you can be an unknown fighter, lose a fight to a high contender, you know what I mean, and then get a fight with the biggest fighter in the UK. You know what I mean? That's because it's not even really about you. It's really about Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? My brother Dude was just doing the live stream, right? Talking about the referee. He said, yeah, I hope to tell you pushes Eddie to make that fight. Now, Eddie Hearn, Teach. Now, Eddie Hearn is the one that's saying it's her. Maybe Dylan White fights in February or March. AJ fights Franklin then in the summer at Wembley. You get what I'm saying? It ain't Sativa that's pushing. This Eddie Hearn that's saying that this fight gonna happen. You know what I mean? Really, to be honest, all Sativa can do is just wait for Eddie Hearn to see what he gonna do. You get what I'm saying? But Eddie Hearn is the one that want to make this fight. This came out of Eddie Hearn mouth. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Right now, that's the reason that Jermaine Franklin got robbed. You know what I mean? Saturday night against Dillian Whyte is because they wanted to boost Anthony Joshua. It had nothing to do with Dillian Whyte. It's to preserve and to boost Anthony Joshua, right? Because now you can't just throw Dillian Whyte, right? The whole plan is to get AJ wins, right? It got nothing to do with Dillian Whyte. The whole plan is to get AJ wins. You can't just throw Dillian Whyte right in there with AJ after this, this upset victory he just got over Franklin, because everybody goes shit on the fight because they feel like Franklin beat him. So now Sativa Promotions Jermaine Franklin then got himself in the big game because he really beat Dillian Whyte, and now he fighting Anthony Joshua. You get what I'm saying? So now you fight. So now you put Jermaine Franklin in there with Anthony Joshua. You get what I'm saying? That way he can still fight Dillian Whyte on the back end. Now instead of getting one fight, Dillian Whyte, Franklin, and then Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte, now you get two bags. You get Jermaine Franklin versus AJ. He said he go throw Dillian Whyte in there with whoever in February or March, and then he go throw Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua in the ring in the summer. So understand, the dude that Dillian Whyte go fight in February or March go have to be even worse than Jermaine Franklin, because they just saw Dillian Whyte damn near lose to Jermaine Franklin. They had to give him a victory over Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin really won when they offered him an Anthony Joshua fight after a fight where he supposedly lost. What's good, Big Tex? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Glad you can make it, pimp. TWT in the building. We in this thing having us a boxing conversation. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get this thing across. You know what I mean? The best way I can. The best way I can. You know what I mean? But I just be wanting to let people know, man, that I be seeing the play, right? I mean, because everybody with eyes could see that goddamn Dillian Whyte lost that fight, right? Everybody with eyes could see that Dillian Whyte. I'm finna go fight this bun up. Can I go fight this bun up, y'all? Everybody with eyes could see that Dillian Whyte, you know what I mean, lost that fight. I'm watching that fight. Y'all got 23 likes. If y'all in the building, y'all ain't click that thumbs up. If y'all could, smash that thumbs up for your boy. Greatly appreciate everybody. You know what I mean? Feel free to comment. Y'all ain't gotta be scared to comment. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't gotta be scared to comment, you know what I mean, or nothing like that. But I agree with Jermaine Franklin that Jermaine Franklin got robbed, right? And I feel like this is two things. This move right here by Eddie Hearn is two things. Now, it worked out for Jermaine Franklin, right? Jermaine Franklin wins in the end. What's good, Jerome Truitt? Appreciate you sliding through. Remind me to rinse you up at the end of the stream, Brody. Now, it worked out for, Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin get, you know what I'm saying, he get a big fight with Anthony Joshua. It worked out in the end for him, right? But Eddie Hearn only did that. He only made that move for Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua did not fight last night, right? But the way that Eddie Hearn is saying it, Anthony Joshua didn't fight last night, but Anthony Joshua is really the person that won last night. You know what I mean? And Dillian Whyte is basically just a sacrificial lamb for AJ, you know what I mean, to boost his career again. You get what I'm saying? I called the zone, right? I called the zone in Max Room. What's good, Josh? He said, shit, I was scared to come. Don't comment. He said, yep, that was a robbery. Yeah, facts, Big Cletus. It was a robbery, right? And now, right? And now what Eddie Hearn doing is how you know it was a robbery, y'all. This really, hey, hear me out, y'all. This lets you know that this fight was a robbery last night. Again, I said this already. I was looking at it a little different. If you keep White stock up indirectly, if AJ stock too, like if anyone AJ beat before it get destroyed, it make AJ win, not look good. So I'm like, yeah, facts. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The reason that Jermaine Franklin got robbed last night was to preserve. Y'all see the title? Y'all see? Franklin was robbed to preserve AJ's career and fight. Franklin was robbed to preserve AJ. It had nothing to do with Dylan White. It had absolutely zero to do with Dylan White. It had everything to do with AJ. It had nothing to do with Franklin. You know what I mean? Franklin went in there and did what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? The whole goal of this, the whole time, was to get Anthony Joshua wins. At first, it was going to be one win with Dylan White. Now, it actually works out in the favor of them because now they get 2 wins and they mad, right? It gets 2 wins. It gets 2 wins and they mad, right? Now you got a Jermaine Franklin. When Jermaine Franklin lost, but he got an AJ fight. Who was they talking about fighting AJ next? Let's be real, right? Because I know we know boxing in here. We follow boxing in this thing, right? We follow boxing in this thing. Who was Eddie Hearn? Who was Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua talking about fight before, Jermaine Franklin? Now you clearly see Eddie Hearn say AJ fights Franklin. But who was they talking about fighting, before this? Right before he fought Dylan White. Who was AJ talking? Who was Eddie Hearn and AJ talking about AJ fight? Dylan White, right? He said it's like with Luis Ortiz, the more people beat, the better, why the resume looks. Yeah, yep. But they was talking about fighting Dylan White, right? Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn. Well, Eddie Hearn mostly, right, was talking about putting Anthony Joshua in the ring with Dylan White. That's the fight that they was talking about making before this, right? So now why all of a sudden do you want to fight in between? Now why all of a sudden do you want to fight in between? You was just building us up for this rematch, right? But now you say, well, now they need to fight in between and then we'll rematch them in the summer. And you giving it to a guy who's coming off a loss. Dylan White was coming off a loss to Tyson Fury, and you didn't even feel the need to give Dylan White a shot at AJ coming off a loss. You wanted Dylan White to get a win first against Jermaine Franklin, to come off a win and then fight AJ so it looked good. You know what I mean? But in actuality, he took a loss, but you really couldn't give him the loss. So you gave him the win, but you still awarded Jermaine Franklin the fight with Anthony Joshua. Jermaine Franklin got a chance to change his life right now, hopping in the ring. You know what I mean? With Anthony Joshua. So, he said that night that he got robbed. You know what I mean? But if an Anthony Joshua fight came out of that, I know, he can never get that win back, right? That loss could be on his record forever. I think that was his first loss, too. Matter of fact, I think that was his first loss, might have been the second, right? I know he'll never get it back. But if you would roll me with a fight with Anthony Joshua, right, I ain't even too much tripping on the loss. You know what I mean? So, of course, Franklin ain't tripping on it because he's still getting what he would have gotten if he won. You get what I'm saying? What's good, Shay, girl? He said they're still trying to push AJ. They're still trying to push back AJ versus Wilder. Yep, Shay got Eddie Hearn trying to keep. Eddie Hearn trying to keep Anthony Joshua's, record intact because if he lose 3 times in a row, right, that'd be catastrophic for Anthony Joshua's career, right, for his image and for his career. If he used to lose 3 straight times in a row, right, you could take a loss to Usyk, you could take 2 losses to Usyk, right, but you can't take 3 losses to Alexander Usyk and then come and lose to Deontay Wilder, right? So I get he wanted to get Anthony Joshua, his confidence up and give him some fights in between the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight, right? I get that. But what I'm saying, Shay Girl, now is right before the fight, right, Shay Girl, because you be on your shit too. Before the fight, they was selling to us AJ versus Dylan White next, right? That was selling AJ versus Dylan White next, right? But now Dylan White beat Jermaine Franklin, right? But now he talking about AJ versus Jermaine Franklin. How did Jermaine Franklin jump Dylan White if he lost the fight? You know what I mean? It's because everybody will ask to see that Jermaine Franklin really ain't lose that goddamn fight. And Jermaine Franklin was the first person to know that he ain't lose that goddamn fight. You get what I'm saying? So now he got to throw. He's giving Franklin his just due by putting him in there with AJ because everybody know that he really won that fight. So now the whole goal is just to get AJ wins to make him look good. You can't send him in there with Wilder, or you can't send him in there with another high, level competition fighter, right? off 2 straight losses. So the first plan was for Dillian Whyte to have this fight and then for him to fight AJ. But since Dillian Whyte lost the fight in actuality, he can't throw him right in there with Dillian Whyte because he know we go crucify the fight because Dillian Whyte just lost. So the way to fix that is the guy Dillian Whyte really lost to in actuality. Now you got to put him in there with AJ so AJ can get a quality win instead of getting a win over, Dillian Whyte who really just lost a fight to a guy that nobody knew. So now you let Anthony Joshua fight Jermaine Franklin. You get people to know him. You introduce him. So now he done fought Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua, right? And now him beating Jermaine Franklin, and they're about to put Dillian Whyte in the ring with who knows. He said maybe Dillian Whyte fights in February or March. AJ fights Franklin. Then in the summer, they fight at Wembley. So they're about to put Dillian Whyte in there with who knows, to try to get him a win, which is what they tried to do this time, but it almost backfired because Dillian Whyte almost lost the goddamn fight. You get what I'm saying? So now they got to go to a tomato can because Dillian Whyte out here losing to goddamn, prospects and Jermaine Franklin and to dudes who hadn't really got their shots yet, right? And Jermaine Franklin. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show what I was saying earlier that the average American heavyweight is probably better than the best UK heavyweight. Again, Andrew Ruiz, Anthony Joshua, and now you got Jermaine Franklin and Dillian Whyte. You get what I'm saying? Two, average, heavyweights, two of the best heavyweights in the UK, and you saw the result. You get what I mean? But basically what I'm saying is, man, and I was talking about earlier, about Canelo in the John Ryder situation, how, that was always setting up, Canelo to fight John Ryder. It's a lot of this, going on in boxing. And it really wouldn't be nothing wrong with it, right? If people was just really transparent on exactly what was going on. And I know that, it happens, right? I understand call outs are a thing. I understand trash talking is a thing, right? But I really hate, right? And it's a lot of people who guilty of this, right? Just for another quick example, like Tank Davis right now, right? Tank got a lot to say about everybody, you know what I mean, right now. But at first you had, you didn't have no fights on the table. You didn't have no fights in line, no fights set up or nothing like that. You was real quiet. You didn't have much to say. You signed 2 fights with Garcia. That sound like a boy band. You signed 2 fights with Garcia. Respect to Hector Garcia, knowing the rhyme. You signed 2 fights with Garcia, and now you got a lot to say about everybody. I'm noticing a lot in boxing, right? These guys are signing fights. They're signing the fight of the people, right? They're signing the fight this guy. They're signing to fight that guy. And then that's when they, start telling you, well, yeah, I'll fight this guy. I'll fight that guy. You know what I mean? Or they just start, talking about, higher ranked fighters than the actual fighters that they fight. It's always like right when they sign a deal to fight somebody, or they sign like a multiple fight deal to fight somebody. Like, and I notice how like sometimes the energy ain't the same. Like one person, could let's just say could be signed to fight, George Kambosos to have a rematch clause, and and he'll say, well, I'll fight Tank Davis, and then people will grill him because you got to fight George Kambosos next, not knowing the whole time that Tank, is the WBA regular champion at this time. He could push his mandatory and fight Devin Haney, so they really can fight, right? But I seen people grill Devin, because they said he had to fight George Kambosos. So Tank signed to fight Garcia, and then he started talking how, he knocked Shakur out, how he knocked Devin out, how none of these guys can't mess with him, how he'll bust all their ass, all that. But now he got 2 fights playing, right? I wish you would have said this shit like, and after your Rolly fight, when you didn't have a fight, maybe we could have got some of that shit shaking. But there's just one example. There's just one example. You know what I mean? But I'm noticing this a lot. Like fighters are scheduling fights, right? Fighters are scheduling fights, and then they're feeding us, hype and promotion from a fight that's not happening. It's like they're scheduling smaller fights, and then they're talking big about other boxers in their divisions, right? That they're not fighting. You get what I mean? It's a lot of, I call it pump faking, man. It's a lot of pump faking, you know what I mean, going on. I don't mind people talking shit, but it's much better when you talk shit and you know you actually fight the guy. Like it's more interesting when I know that a fight is going to happen behind these two guys going back and forth, right? Like I really I hope Tank and Ryan fight, right, but I really can't even get into that like I want to, right? Because I don't believe shit that Ryan Garcia says. You know what I mean? Boxing MMA said Shelly Finkel is calling the AJ Wilder fight. If I was AJ, I'd take facts. Facts. Yeah, facts. That's what they doing. Like they building up the AJ and Wilder fight. You know what I mean? Yep. That's the fight. He said, you see it clear. I like looking at stuff like that, understanding the strategy of what they doing. Yeah, face that pump faking, you nailed it. That's happening a lot in boxing. Yeah, you know what I mean? These are kind of conversations, you know what I mean, I like to have. Can y'all do your boy a favor? Can y'all jab that like button? 17 people in the building, 27 likes. If y'all ain't jabbed that like button yet, if y'all could, smash that thumbs up. We having a boxing conversation. You know, feel free, you know what I mean, to drop a comment. I'm just in this thing. I'm just in this. I'm just in this thing. You know, I'm just in it. I'm just in this thing, man, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, they really think that the people are dumb, right? And I got a saying, right? I say the person is smart and people are dumb, right? And I do believe that's true, but I also believe that Eddie Hearn believe that's true, right? And I also know that right now all people are dumb, right? That's a general statement. Not all people are dumb. I also got a statement where you could fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. You get what I'm saying? Eddie Hearn is a dude who try to fool all of the people all of the time. You get what I'm saying? Now we know from the past years. See, right now, I'm believing that Wilder and AJ is more likely to happen, right? And I'm believing it's more likely to happen now because of the fact that AJ is actually coming off some losses, and you know he's going to need that payday or that big payday fight. AJ has grown accustomed to making a certain amount of money. You know what I mean? He's accustomed to getting a certain amount of bag. He's ahead now afraid he not A1, don't shoot no better, fool. Don't shoot no better. You know what I mean? We ain't even had no trolls. We ain't even had no trolls, man. The trolls been real chill. Trolls been real chill. You know what I mean? But yeah, I know we've been we've been here with the pump fake, by Eddie Hearn with the AJ and Wilder fight before. But I think right now he more inclined, to fight AJ because he need a certain amount of money, right? A certain level of profile fight, to get those big money fights that he accustomed to. So maybe not right now, right? Because he don't want to keep losing back to back to back to back in a row like that. You know what I mean? But I think right now he'll be more inclined to fight Deontay Wilder because when you look at AJ's resume, right, and this one thing that I give AJ credit for, right, and I'm gonna continue to give him credit for it. Anthony Joshua, he does fight everyone. He didn't fight Deontay Wilder. He did Wilder for sure, right? But outside of Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua was open to fighting anybody, and he just about did. Now, we want him to fight Deontay Wilder for sure, right? But I mean, generally speaking, outside of Deontay, he didn't got in there with, more heavyweights than anybody. Be real with you. From Klitschko to Usyk to motherfucking Dylan White to fucking Joseph Parker to motherfucking Darius Rashora to motherfucking Andy Ruiz. You know what I mean? Pretty much to all most of the top, heavyweights, the notable heavyweights. And then Joshua has been in the ring with him. So I'm gonna give him credit, for that. And to the same merit, the same breath. That's where I think he's running out of people to fight. He's also running out of big money fights, especially because he keep losing fights. When you lose fight, your pay don't go up. You get what I'm saying? Now, a guy like Anthony Joshua, pay ain't go get docked too much, but it is go get docked. You get what I'm saying? So losing don't increase your bag. You get what I'm saying? That's why I think Eddie Hearn want to give him a couple fights in between a fight with a tough competitor. Now, whether it's Deontay Wilder or not, because I still can see a chance where he dug Deontay Wilder and don't fight him and just use his name for a promotion like he been doing. You know what I mean? But I also do think it's an increased chance now that we get Wilder versus AJ. It's sounding like, from what Eddie Hearn is saying right now, it's sounding like we might get AJ versus Wilder at the end of the year. So maybe Deontay Wilder has a fight in between it. You know what I mean? Who knows? But from what he's saying, he said Dylan White's go fight in February or March. AJ is going to fight Franklin. I'm not really sure when AJ go fight Franklin. He ain't really say, or did he say? I mean, he ain't really say, but he want AJ to fight Franklin. He want Dylan White to fight in February. So, and he want the fight to be in the summer. So it's going to be at least one fight in between. He did state that. Let me see, did he state when? It didn't AJ as well. They'll probably got 5 or 6 fights whenever it's going to be. You want big fights. Every training camp was hard, opponent have a small fight. Maybe AJ fights Jermaine Franklin in February or March. So he trying to get Jermaine Franklin and AJ to fight in February or March. And I'm guessing Dylan White go fight on the same card because he said he go fight in February or March too. He said, I don't know. He gave a very good account of himself, gave Dylan White a good fight, but I think Joshua has got a number of names that he's looking at as well. But, I don't really think that Dylan White is looking at a rematch with Jermaine Franklin. You know what I mean? So he already stated he don't want to put Dylan White back in there with Jermaine Franklin, which is exactly what I stated. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I stated. They don't want to put Dylan White back in there with Jermaine Franklin because he would beat Dylan White like he did the first time. You get what I'm saying? But let me see. He said maybe Dylan White has one in February or March and AJ has one in March or whatever. They'll meet in the summer at Wembley. Or maybe they'll go straight into it. We'll talk to everybody and see what's next. You know what I mean? He said maybe AJ fights Jermaine Franklin in March. You know what I mean? So he is looking like, you know what I mean? So now he teasing. You get what I'm saying? So, but I'm pretty sure if Jermaine Franklin gets that call for AJ fight, him and Satiri Promotions is not going to turn it down. And if Eddie Hearn is the one that's pulling the gun and saying that, he want that fight probably is going to happen. He going to have both of them probably fight on the same card in March, and then have them two fight in the summer. You know what I'm saying? What's good, Kay? He said, I think Franklin could outbox and beat AJ. You think Franklin got a chance to beat AJ? What's good, Damien, man? Appreciate you sliding through. Damien, man, what's good? Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all jab their like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time. We in this thing having us a boxing conversation, man. I'm in here talking about, really doing my weekend roundup. I separated my weekend roundup today. I normally do it in one video. Today I kind of, split my thoughts up a little bit, gave everybody their own individual block. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Franklin. I'm talking about Dylan White and Franklin now, right? I talked about John Ryder and Zach Parker, and I tied it into Canelo earlier, how John Ryder was going to be the one to fight Canelo, all the time. You know what I mean? So I talked about John Ryder. You know what I mean? We talking about Jermaine Franklin and Dylan White right now. And I'm telling you how I agree with Jermaine Franklin that, he was fucking robbed and he got robbed to preserve Anthony Joshua, not Dylan White. You know what I mean? And then we'll have us a little Regis Prograis conversation. You know what I mean? A little later. The Regis Prograis conversation, go be quick, go be short. And, you know what I mean? It's going to be sweet. You know what I mean? It ain't going to be too short, but it's going to be short and sweet because I just want to talk about, Regis and who I think that he should fight next at this point. You know what I mean? But but right now, we pouring out the fact. Right now, I'm pouring out the fact. I'm telling y'all on Wild. And what's good, James Silver? Appreciate you sliding through this, James Silver. Glad you can make it. James Silver, I don't know if it's your first time, but if you could not make it your last time, do your boy a favor. Could you jab that like button and subscribe to the channel? Greatly appreciate you. He said, yeah, I thought White lost too. Yeah, I think White lost. I think pretty much 85% of the people who saw that fight, right, know that Jermaine Franklin won that fight. You know what I mean? But my whole thing, right, James, why would you rob Jermaine Franklin that night if you wasn't, you know what I mean, trying to put Dylan White in the ring with AJ. And then your whole sole reason of putting Dylan White in the ring with AJ is to lose and boost AJ. So so effectively you rob Jermaine to preserve Dylan White, to feed him to AJ, to preserve AJ and boost AJ in the end. But you know now, if because now you can't go straight into a Dylan White fight, right? Because we go say people like me and damn sure people like Damon Man go say, man, don't nobody want to see AJ versus Dylan White. Dylan White just got his ass whooped by Jermaine Franklin. So how do you now fix the situation? Now you get 2 fights for 1, right? So now you put Jermaine Franklin in there with AJ, and you know it's a robbery because on paper, right, Jermaine Franklin lost. Since when does the loser, right, of a fight get the big fight? You didn't even give Dylan White an Anthony Joshua fight coming right off a Tyson Fury loss, and Tyson Fury was the WBC champion. You put him in there with Jermaine Franklin to try to get him a win, and then you was going to put him in there with Anthony Joshua, is what you were saying. You know what I mean? But Dylan White lost to Jermaine Franklin. Dylan White lost to Jermaine Franklin, at least to the eye. You know what I mean? But now you're about to give Jermaine Franklin a title shot off a loss. Right? Off a loss. You're about to give Jermaine Franklin a title shot off a loss. It's because you know that Jermaine Franklin actually won that fight. And you know if you rematch the fight like everybody's calling for, let Jermaine Franklin fight Dylan White again. Let Jermaine Franklin fight Dylan White again. Oh, he was robbed. You know you can't do that because Jermaine Franklin probably stops Dylan White the next time. So to keep everything smooth, you go let Anthony Joshua knock out Franklin, and then you still go let Anthony Joshua knock off Dylan White later in London to try to make that a bigger fight. You know what I'm saying? What's good, dude? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, dude. Glad you can make it. Glad you can make it, pimp. A1 hoops on. Hold them guns, A1. Hold them guns, A1. Yeah, dude, I'm trying to get myself back in the algorithm, man. I think I'm getting blacklisted right now, man. My ass ain't twerking. I feel like they ain't getting me out, you know what I mean, to my people and to my folks, you know what I mean? So I'm doing a lot of clean content, you know what I mean? I'm trying to, get my green lights back. I'm testing something out, dude. I had all green lights on the videos that I made earlier, you know what I mean? So I'm testing it out right now. Getting this YouTube thing down, trying to keep my lights green because it's starting to affect your boy. You know what I mean? I can see, I'm like, why ain't it doing that? So now I'm just adjusting. I'm adjusting. You know what I mean? I'm really getting back to what I kind of used to do, to try to see if that's what it is, to try to get myself back into, the good graces of the tube. He said, I think Franklin can upset AJ. You think so, Josh? I don't know. I don't think I'm there to say that yet. Franklin did show me something. I didn't think it was far-fetched that Franklin would beat Dylan White, but I had heard beforehand that Franklin wasn't looking good in training camp. Clearly, maybe there was just some bullshit, you know what I mean, to try to, maybe throw Dylan White off or something because that boy looked great when he got in that ring, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think Franklin can fight. I think he gonna most definitely give Anthony Joshua a test. You see what you just said there, Josh? I believe Eddie Hearn knows that because of that fight with White now, it's gonna be some people who think that. So this is a sellable fight now. This is a fight that you could put on, and this is a fight that the people won't complain about because we know Franklin just beat Dylan White. You get what I'm saying? So it worked out. You get what I'm saying? It really worked out for him to rob Jermaine Franklin because you rob Jermaine Franklin, you keep Dylan White's, legacy and record intact. So he could still fight Anthony Joshua after you put Anthony Joshua in the ring with Jermaine Franklin. You get what I'm saying? So Jermaine Franklin winning, but him robbing him actually worked out for him because now he get 2 fights for the price of 1. You get what I mean? I know AJ is not good. I believe AJ decent, man. AJ has trouble with boxers. Yeah, he do. I think it's gonna be a good fight, man. And don't get me wrong. I think Franklin give him a problem. You know what I mean? For a while. I'm finna eat some chips. I think Franklin will give him a problem. You know what I mean? For a while. You know what I mean? Hold on. Oh, yeah, my bad, y'all. Yeah, and I ain't saying that I ain't saying about no strict, right? I ain't saying about no strict that new Fat Boy Fitness was good. My bad. Let me rinse y'all folks up. Let me get y'all rinsed up. I ain't saying about no strict, right? Y'all think AJ go walk through Jermaine Franklin because I don't think that at all. I don't think he walking through Jermaine Franklin at all. I think Jermaine Franklin go give him a run, and I think Jermaine Franklin go be a match for him, right? I think he walking through Jermaine Franklin at all. I'm gonna get y'all rinsed up. I got 20 people in the building. I got 35 likes. Can I get everybody in the building to jab that thumbs up for your boy, whether you're here for a good time or a long time winning this thing, having a boxing conversation? Don't be feel free to come in. I'm just in this thing, letting y'all inside my mind for a second. See, if y'all could kind of see how I see it, see where I'm going with it. You know what I mean? It's just crazy to me how they try to, and I was getting somewhere how they try to fool the people. You get what I mean? Like, you can't fool the people. Like, the person is smart, people are dumb. If the right person is talking to the people, then the people are smart, right? You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. You get what I mean? We could see the player light, and people really be trying to pull, the wool over our ass. You know what I mean? Like, we can't see some of this shit. Like, we ain't smart. If you just be honest with the people, we can't do shit but understand. You know what I mean? We can't do shit but understand. It's when you try to, sell us bullshit, when you try to do fuck shit, where we gotta, jump on y'all back. You know what I'm saying? Where you go tell us Jermaine Franklin lost that fight, right? But then you go give him an Anthony Joshua fight, right? So you go tell us he lost that fight, but then you go give him an Anthony Joshua. I'm finna put this back up here so the people can see it. Y'all finna rinse you up. Everybody, I had took the wrenches down. I had reset the wrenches because I had some trolls in here and I had to weed out the troll. You know what I mean? Trolls with an S. Trolls with an S. You did have one, buddy. My bad. You did have one, buddy. But yeah, my bad. But yeah, tell me in what world, right? Tell me in what world. Oh shit. Tell me in what world, right? Do a man lose a fight and then get awarded the bigger fight? You know what I mean? We know you trying to pull the wood over our ass when you tell us Jermaine Franklin lost and then he get an AJ fight. Since we ain't do the losers get the big fights. You get what I'm saying? Effectively, if Dillian White loses this fight to Jermaine Franklin, Eddie Hearn loses twice in one night. Dillian White loses to Jermaine Franklin. That's one of his fighters. And he loses the Dillian White versus Anthony Joshua fight rematch that he been trying to sell us since Alexander Usyk beat Anthony Joshua up twice. So the fight that he been trying to sell us, since AJ took his 2 losses, would have went down the drain. And Dillian White's career would have went down the drain. You get what I'm saying? So he lose a big fight on his side of town and on his side of the pond, right? And Dillian White's probably going to be done. You get knocked out by Fury and you lose to a guy nobody's ever heard of. And Jermaine Franklin, you probably don't. So Dillian White, got that robbery over Jermaine Franklin Saturday night, not because he liked Dillian White, right? Not because he liked Dillian White, not because he disliked Jermaine Franklin. But all this is to get Anthony Joshua wins, which is the only reason you can explain to me how Jermaine Franklin gets an Anthony Joshua fight after a loss. What's good, Bruce Gads? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Bruce. Glad you can make it. James Silver said boxing became a business. Yeah, it has become a business. It really has. It really has. Like, and I get it, boxing is a business, right? boxing is a business, right? But when you start boxing, you're not making those big dollars. You're not getting those big checks. You're not making those big paydays. You know what I mean? And at that point, the love of the sport is what pushes you. I think people get to a certain point and they forget why they started boxing. I ain't gonna say that they lose their love for the sport, right? I'm gonna say they forget the reason that they started boxing. They forget, when they had to go to those, those gyms in the trenches where you just had like, rope around the ring, where you had like, the padded floor. You get what I'm saying? Where you ain't have the no AC, whether it was on purpose or you really didn't have no AC. You get what I mean? Most of the gyms now, got AC and shit. I don't understand that, but anyway, I digress. You get what I'm saying? Like people forget the reason they started, where they started from. You know what I mean? They get comfortable. You get what I'm saying? That's what boxing has got. People, oh yeah, well, I'm making big money. I don't want to lose because I don't want to lose my money. But they forget that taking the big fight is what got you the money. Continuing to take the big fights is what's going to keep you the money. You get what I'm saying? And listen to what I said. You don't got to win them. All you got to do is continue, to take them in good faith. And the people going to love you regardless. We'll watch you to your dying day. You get what I'm saying? You do it the right way. Win, lose, or draw. Mike Tyson ain't undefeated. Muhammad Ali ain't undefeated. You know what I mean? It's about wins and losses, but it's also, about testing yourself in the best fighting the best. You get what I'm saying? I got 28 big people in the building. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button. If y'all just getting in and y'all saw, you know what I mean? The header is Franklin was robbed to preserve AJ's career and fight. And basically what I mean by that, James Silver said, especially when that money start coming around, their mindset change. Yeah, facts. And basically, right, what I mean by that is Jermaine Franklin, and a lot of people feel like that Jermaine Franklin was robbed. I'm one of the people that feel like Jermaine Franklin was robbed. Sudden T, how you go blame Eddie Hearn for robbing Jermaine Franklin and say he did it for AJ? AJ wasn't even in the fight or in the ring the other night. Well, Sudden T feel like that, he robbed Jermaine Franklin to preserve AJ's career because he wanted to put Dylan White in the ring with Anthony Joshua as the big fight, a rematch over there in the UK. How I know that is because that's what he was saying before the event started, right? So he going there, Dylan White lose the fight. So one, if Dylan White loses, you can't make the big rematch over there in the UK. So that's one of the reasons that I feel like he robbed Franklin with Dylan White. The other reason is because if Dylan White loses, then Dylan White's career is probably over. And if Dylan White loses to a journeyman, right, and Anthony Joshua loses to a journeyman who eventually becomes Andy Ruiz, right, then it's going to look real bad for Dylan White and Anthony Joshua because you're trying to sell us a rematch between Dylan White and Anthony Joshua. And both of them lost to American journeymen. You get what I'm saying? So if he loses, then that ruins Dylan White's legacy, which in turn ruins Anthony Joshua's legacy as well. And you can't have that fight at all. You get what I mean? So you rob Jermaine Franklin. Now, how do you fix, the backlash from you robbing Jermaine Franklin? Because now you can't stick Dylan White and Anthony Joshua in the ring with each other for a rematch like you was planning to do before this fight because Dylan White really lost this fight before you robbed him. But what you can do here is, right, you could put him in the ring with the guy everybody is saying beat Dylan White, right? But he didn't beat him on paper. So Dylan White gets to keep that W. So you could put Dylan White in the ring in March, and you could put Anthony Joshua versus Franklin in the ring in March. Put them on the same card and boost that fight with AJ and Dylan White even more. You get what I'm saying? So understand. Dylan White is a pawn to be put to set and boost up AJ. Eddie Hearn didn't want to put Dylan White in the ring with AJ coming off a loss because it don't look as good as Dylan White coming off of a win. So you put him in there with a journeyman unknown. He's not even really a journeyman. I hate to call him a journeyman, so I'm not. You put him in there with an unknown and Jermaine Franklin for an easy win, right, to boost his profile before you stick him back in there with AJ. He loses in actualities. You rob Franklin, and now you put Franklin in the ring with AJ. That's all the proof that I need. This right here. AJ fights Franklin. That's all the proof I need to prove that Franklin was robbed to preserve, AJ's legacy. Because the fact that Franklin is going to fight AJ next when Dylan White was supposed to fight AJ next lets me know that he really won, because no loser gets the bigger fight after a loss. You get what I'm saying? Eddie Hearn did all that. Eddie Hearn did all this Saturday. The robbing of Jermaine Franklin. He did all of that. He did all of that to preserve the career of AJ, so he could still make that Dylan White versus AJ rematch. And so AJ's win against Dylan White don't look like shit, because Dylan White lost to a journeyman and he lost to Tyson Fury, right? 2 times back to back. You know what I mean? So now he about to set Jermaine Franklin up to fight AJ. That's going to boost AJ even more, because this the guy who effectively beat Dylan White, and you still can put him in the ring with Dylan White, because on paper, Dylan White actually won the fight. You know what I mean? But I ain't going to keep y'all in this thing, too much longer. Appreciate everybody, sliding through this thing. Well, hold on now. Wait, I ain't got to leave right now. I ain't got to leave right now. This is what we going to do. Shit. If y'all ready to roll, we going to roll. If y'all want to, come up, chit chat for a second, y'all can come up, chit chat for a second, or you know what I mean. But because I feel like I ain't, just talk to y'all, in a second. I feel like I ain't talk to y'all in a second, you know what I mean. But we could talk about it, man. Franklin and AJ. I don't know if Franklin. I like the fact that Franklin is fighting AJ, right? Hey, girl. Shay, girl, now you know what? You want to know what the irony of that is? Hold on, I'm finna bring my camera up. I'm eating these chips. You want to know what the irony of that is, Shay, girl? If that's the fight that he put Dylan White in there in March, like if Wilder and Eddie Hearn and them could some kind of way agree, if Wilder them can some kind of way agree to Eddie and Anthony Joshua fighting after that, that would be a perfect fucking fight, Shay, girl. That would be perfect. If White fight Jermaine Franklin, if AJ fights Jermaine Franklin in February, and Dylan White fight Deontay Wilder in March, and then, but now because he wanted to set up AJ and White, and if you make Dylan White versus Wilder, Dylan White ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean? But if he want to do Wilder and AJ for the summer, Shay, girl, that's perfect. That will, in the perfect world, they'll listen to you. They'll go with that plan. See, my mind didn't even go that way, Shay, girl, because I don't believe they trying to throw Dylan White in there with Wilder for real. I believe that was just a pump fake to keep him off Anthony Joshua ass. I believe that was just a pump fake to keep him off Anthony Joshua ass. That goes here 2 for 1. Yep. White and White, that'll be a banger. She said Lillian will get smoked. Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. Now, let's say, yeah, in the perfect world, man. In the perfect world, Queen. Oh, let me fight this one. I'm gonna bring my camera up. If I bring my camera up, then we finna talk about it. I gotta look. a little second now. I'm gonna go a couple more minutes, and then I want y'all to meet me. I'm gonna go a couple more minutes, then we're gonna have a quick conversation on the other screen. Hold on, don't go nowhere. I'm about to drop that thing for y'all. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Because I want to have a conversation about two people. Right. I'm done with my weekend wrap up. And this is how I'm gonna wrap it up with Prograis. We gotta talk about Prograis. We ain't talk about Prograis today on the weekend wrap up. I called this fight, right? But I didn't do the weekend wrap up. So at the top of the hour, in 6 minutes, we go into the Prograis stream. Right now, what I'm finna do is I'm finna bring this camera, right? We finna shoot the shit for these 6 minutes. And then y'all go meet me over there on the Prograis screen, on the Prograis stream. You know what I mean? And then after that, y'all go on back to your life. Y'all go eating stuff. Y'all go get out work. You know what I mean? Take showers and all this shit. And then y'all go meet me on the chill session for these basketball games and shit that come on night. You know what I mean? But first, in 6 minutes, right, we go head over there to the Prograis stream. You know what I mean? We go talk about Prograis and the guy that I want Regis Prograis to fight. You know what I mean? It's a fight, y'all. I want to talk about a fight. Prograis just had his fight. Let me bring my camera up so so y'all can see me, so I can know the seriousness of it. You know what I mean? Prograis just had a fight. You know what I mean? That I ain't talked about yet, and I want to talk about the goddamn Prograis fight. So we're gonna talk about the fight a little bit. We're gonna talk about what he had to say, and we're gonna talk about on who I think Regis Prograis should fight next. You know what I mean? I'm all about the goal. I'm all about titles. I'm all about the best fighting the best. I'm all about fights that make sense, right? I know I be getting a headache, talking about some of this shit, right? I get a headache talking about some of this shit, right? Because it's frustrating. Because it's a lot of good fights, right? That we could get, but that we don't get. And then a lot of times it's the people, right, egging it on as if we go get it, right? Getting our hopes up, you know what I mean, to only let us down and tear it down. You get what I'm saying? But I want to talk about, I like talking about fights, that's plausible, not just the hype fights, right? Not just the fights, that's gonna get, the people in the building, but the fights that's actually plausible, man. The fights that make sense, the fights that the people should want to see. It's fights that the people want to see, right? And a lot of times, not even gonna be that competitive, not even gonna be, as good as fights as people think. For example, Tank and Ryan. Ryan gonna beat the shit out. Tank gonna beat the shit out of Ryan, right? Shit ain't gonna be close. Like Tank gonna beat the shit out of Ryan, right? Shit ain't gonna be close. But a fight that I want to talk about, on the next stream, on the Prograis stream, it's a fight that actually makes sense. A unification fight. Two fighters coming off two great wins. You know what I mean? Regis Prograis coming off Zepeda, arguably his best, if not one of his best wins, right? I will argue that it is, you know what I mean, Regis Prograis best win. So we gonna rap about it. Y'all click that link, y'all meet me on the other side. Y'all go over there, y'all smash that like button, y'all like that thing. You know what I mean? Y'all drop a comment in there. Y'all meet me over there. We about to start that thing up right now. You know what I mean? It's 20 people in here. I need all y'all to meet me over there on the next stream. We about to talk about it. We about to talk about the end this one. Y'all click that one. Y'all meet me over there. I'm about to start that thing now. Matter of fact, I'm finna start it now. And y'all still gonna be sitting here looking at me. Yeah, Josh. I had to correct myself, Josh. I couldn't let that get too far. Josh. You know what I mean? I had to correct myself. I couldn't let that get too far. Matter of fact, this is what we finna do. Right now. Matter of fact, and ain't nobody over there. Y'all ain't even over there. This is what we finna do. Y'all click that link in the chat right there. Y'all click that link in the chat right there. Y'all meet me over on the other side, man. Y'all click that link in the chat right there. Y'all meet me. Drop a comment so I can know y'all there because I don't see y'all over there. I don't see nobody in the house. I don't see nobody in the house. My bad, y'all. I'm high as hell. I'm high as hell. I'm clearly on this video. I'm clearly on this video. I'm bullshit, man. Oh, shit, son. It's a good coochie, man. It's a good coochie, man. Coochie runs. Coochie runs, man. I recommend it. I recommend it, man. I recommend Fizzle. I recommend it. Y'all tell me is that the right lick? Y'all tell me is that the right lick, dog? Y'all tell me is that let me do the countdown. I'm like, y'all still here? Why y'all still here? Y'all tell me is that the right? Hey. That must not be it because I don't see y'all over there. Y'all jab that jump from y'all drop them comments, let your boy know. Y'all meet me on the other side, man. Y'all meet me on the other side. We gotta have us another conversation. This ain't gonna last too long. This ain't gonna last too long. We ain't gonna be there no longer than maybe 15, at the longest 48. It's an open conversation. You know what I mean? Y'all meet me over there. Don't meet me, but beat me. Come greet me. Say hey when you see me. You can speak to me a little freaky. Just make sure you meet me. Matter of fact, don't meet me. Just beat me. If you're still here right now, you're not contributing to the cause, and I'm up out of here.